Hello everyone, my name is Stephen White. This is my adapted formative assessment lesson plan. I chose estimating length using the scientific notation. Um, Standards for mathematical content in the Common Core state standards for mathematics 8-EE work with radicals and integer exponents. This lesson also relates to all the standards for mathematical practice with particular emphasis on number 2, reason abstractly and quantitatively, 7, look for and make use of structure, and 8, look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. With taking the lesson assessment test at the beginning, I felt that it was really involved. Not only were you doing the scientific notation, but you had to rank from smallest to largest, and there were a couple questions at the bottom that you had to write the equation that equaled to this, that equaled to that, and I found that to be a little bit difficult. And when I compare it to where I think my students would be, especially when I think of my class in general right now, um, that is just way too much. It's going to cause multiple issues and create a lot of work moving forward. Um, so what I suggest after reading this and taking that assessment, it also states that you need 15 minutes for the lesson for the assessment tax, 80-minute for the rest of the lesson, and 15 minutes for the follow-up lesson assessment or homework. It says you can split into 2 or shorter lessons. I'm breaking this whole lesson down into 4 separate classes so that there is enough time for some one-on-one interactions. There's enough time for the collaborative aspect that's in here that I want to keep, but make some changes to. And it also allows for more discussion and practice and review time. So what it states you should be doing first is taking the pre-assessment. Then you want to gather the information, see where the strengths and weaknesses are per each kid. Then it prompts you to have a large group discussion. Then you go right into your collaborative work, where you give them 3 different card sets, each of them about 15 minutes long. They get each set of cards for 15 minutes. One is the measurements, one is the objects, and then the third section is comparison. So it gives you the rest, and you're supposed to make some sort of diagram out of them. It comes together like a puzzle, which I'll flip around and show you right now on the screen. As you can see, there's a lot there that we work with. I don't want to necessarily get rid of that, but I do want to make some changes based on what I'm seeing, the objects they're using, and make it a little more into what my students use in their everyday, with some minor things outside that are a little more noticeable for them. So what I did is I looked at the whole lesson, and I kind of broke down. So for my first class, I would do the pre-test, take everybody's assessment, look over it. We'd have our group discussion, and then we would practice based on the strengths and weaknesses of where the students are, so that everybody gains access to all the material and gets the skills they need to be successful. Day 2, the minute we come in, we review what we did the day before with a little bit of practice, and then we start slowly the collaborative activity. We start out with card set A, and going through the measurements. They do that in groups of 2 or 3, with regular check-ins at each group. And then we would move into group B and give them the objects so that they can match them up. And then group C, they get the rest of the comparisons with the arrows in the middle of those diagrams that I showed you. Based on how fast everything goes in class 2, when we move into lesson and aspect on day 3, we can finish the collaborative activity, and then have another group discussion with practice and review, and discuss everybody's board, and why they picked the answers they did, and discuss. And then for class 4, we come in, we review, we practice, and then we take the last assessment. I also instituted that there would be homework each day, and the way I broke that down would be after class 1, they would have a short homework with 3 questions based on our discussion. Class 2, we'd have a homework with 5 questions, so we're increasing the amount. And after class 3, we'd have 7 questions, and that would be part of our review and practice moving into the next days. With the assessment, I thought I'd make some changes in the pre-assessment. I would just knock it down to getting rid of the rankings in the bottom questions. I would leave it with the seven scientific notations that you got to decipher, whether it's writing out the number or writing out the actual equation. And then I felt for my post-assessment that I would increase it to 10 questions and add the rankings so that the students now understand how everything is sized when it's negative, which is smaller than what, and which is bigger than the other. These breakdowns and this setup, I feel, would be best when I especially equate it to my classroom right now. A lot of my students need a slower pace. They need a lot of the stuff broken down into smaller chunks. So I would have to divide this lesson not into 2 days, but maybe 4, just for my skill set in my classroom. I hope everybody finds that insightful. I hope that everybody can maybe pick and choose some things out of here. A lot of this is new, I know, to some of us, and I'm finding my way through, and I think that is where I would start when trying to break down this lesson. Thank you.